fear through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, danced a jig over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son, still have me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Backyard Beers and Football. I am your host, co-host, Coast, Shane. He is your host, co-host, Coast, Rob. Rob, how are you?
Can't complain. You know what? I love recording these episodes in the morning now. I get to stop at Wawa, get my coffee on the way in. I'm nice and upbeat, and nothing's pissed me off yet during the course of the day, so I'm in a good mood. I think I like this whole recording in the morning thing much better than recording at night when I'm ready to just lie down on the couch and watch TV, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I dig this. Recording in the morning is significantly better, although I myself have had things to piss me off this morning.
You didn't dial 911 again, did you?
I did not dial 911 again. Thank you, jackass. No, and I posted this on Twitter, and it's gotten a little bit of feedback, which is nice. So obviously, you drive into my neighborhood on occasion. The four-way stop sign there.
Yes.
I got put into that awkward position of 3 cars come up, that's fine. 1 car goes, the next car goes. Now it's this car's turn on my left, and I'm like, go ahead. So I wave at 6:30 in the morning before I go work out. I'm like, go ahead. It's your turn. Drive. And they did the thing. No, you go. Well, now this is awkward. Now this is uncomfortable. So I begin to hit my gas, and as do they, as if they were to say, oh, wait, I thought you said go. And I said, I did say go, but then you said go. This is a Seinfeld bit right here. 30 seconds. I said go, they didn't go. They waved me to go, so I started to drive. They started to drive too. Now we both are in that awkward position of gas brake, gas brake, gas brake. Throw your hands in the air. What do you want me to do? That's how my morning started this morning. So I got just yelled at and chirped at from behind because I did eventually go, because screw that person.
Gotta love when there's miscommunication like that.
It's like people's first day on the road every day.
Every day. I also did get yelled at this morning because
you put pumpkin spice in your coffee again?
No, I did do that, but I didn't get yelled at for it, though. I did not get yelled at for that. I was at the Wawa, right, and I needed to get a little bit of gas, so I see one pump that's open, and I make a beeline for it. I'm moving as quickly as I can to get there. Meanwhile, there's this old lady who's moving about 2 miles an hour. Seems like she can't make up her mind. I beat her to the pump by a fraction of a second. She ends up driving around the whole parking lot trying to figure out what to do. Eventually, she somehow ends up in the pump next to me because that person left, and she starts yelling at me.
How old?
She's probably about 70.
You're a terrible human. You beelined for a pump? I respect the hell out of you right now. Good for you.
I was in a time crunch. I had to get here.
Obviously, this is very, very important stuff. We are talking our very first post-game win, kind of post-game. We've now had, what?
First of many.
Yeah, first of many this year. But we are ecstatic that Eagles football is back. We're 1-0. It did not go smoothly by any account, but we are 1-0, and that is the most important thing. So, you had said in your 15 thoughts, it was your 15 thoughts, right? It wasn't
Yes.
a different article I'm thinking of? Good. So, Rob had said in his 15 thoughts, as I obviously had no idea fully in this moment, that he would not be shocked, that you would not be shocked if the Eagles came out flat. Did you expect them to come out that flat?
No, I did not. It was mildly surprising to me. I wasn't totally surprised by the fact that they fell down 17-0 right out of the gate, but I didn't think it would be that bad to start off the game.
Yeah, I mean, so I watched the game with L, which is honestly more entertaining than watching a Texas football game with me. We were 3 snaps in, and he was already pacing back and forth, basically stating that the season is over. He was screaming at Sendejo. He was screaming at Nate Gary. He was screaming at fucking everything.
He's always screaming at Nate Gary.
He is.
I think he hates Nate Gary more than he hates anything else on the face of the earth.
I don't know. I'd actually be willing to put this out and to see how he would actually specifically rank them. And I bet you he couldn't actually give us a ranking. I think he would just use the cop-out of shoot them all to the moon. But who do you think, just out of curiosity, and you guys who listen to Kelly Green Hour will get this, and anyone who has listened to the old episodes in the archives of the In Cap We Trust before L focus solely on Eagles football here for AMYP. What do you think he hates more, Nate Gary or Scott Kingery or the 76ers?
Oh, between those three, it's got to be the 76ers.
You think that it takes it full?
I mean, he goes on Twitter and he posts memes and stuff like that whenever, Paul George is a buzzer beater to win the game against us.
It is absurd. It is absurd. I don't know. I'm partially, I think that he would 100% just use the cop-out. Just be like, they're all terrible. They're all ass. I'm sending them all to the moon. But yeah, Kelly Green hosts.
That's why we're the better show.
We are the better show. We are 100% the better show. But 17-0, super early on. Things do not look smooth. Connor had been on record saying, both on Crossing Borders and on Kelly Green Hour, again, he co-hosts that with, see, look at that, I combine the words even when I'm talking about them. He hosts that show with L. He's forever said they need to play a little bit in the preseason. Hindsight 2020 now, seeing that they started off slow, do you think that was something that was probably needed at this point?
I don't think so. I think they realize that they're playing the Redskins to start the season. They can basically use that, the first half of that game as a preseason game, which is exactly what they did, and ended up, working out pretty well because they came alive and just dominated the second half for the win. So I think it all depends who you're playing to open up the season. If you're opening the season against, say, the Patriots or the Chiefs or even Dallas or somebody like that, then yeah, you probably want your guys to have a little bit of preseason time coming into that, but no, I mean, you can disrespect the Redskins because they're just not a good football team.
Yeah, I said on my episode with Crossing Borders, it posted yesterday, I believe, with Connor. For me, obviously seeing that we came away and won that football game yesterday, basically by the exact same logic that you just said, you can use that first quarter, first half, whatever you need, and still probably get by the Redskins, and we did. For me, I feel like it was still more important to get through with all of your key pieces or as many of your key pieces as possible healthy. And if by doing that, or if you had to do that by not playing in the preseason, I'm pretty cool with that.
That's another thing that is one of my main points. I mean, say you put Carson out there in that third preseason game and he gets hurt. Well, you're going to catch a lot of shit for that, right?
Of course you are.
So you'd rather avoid a situation like that. You'd rather avoid, having a Lane Johnson get hurt or having a Nelson Aguilar or Alshon Jeffrey get hurt in the preseason game that doesn't mean anything. So that's another reason why I'd rather just, if you have a lesser opponent coming up, just use that first half to kind of iron out the wrinkles a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And they did, and I feel like, so, man, the difference between Philadelphia Eagles football and their locker room versus what the Philadelphia Phillies and their clubhouse is and how they react to things. It was, look, Malcolm Jenkins had said it, Nelson Aguilar had said it. I feel like a few other Eagles now that I'm blanking on had said. Jim Schwartz said it. They deserve to be booed at half. They understood that, they respected that, and they used that as something to propel some additional energy in there to come out in that third quarter and play smash mouth football. Like, they could have just went deep immediately, and try to appease the fans with that play action deep pass to Deshaun. They could have done that immediately, but Doug Peterson understood the importance of getting that line going, getting all the pieces talking the same language. Everyone's going to speak the same language, and the way to do that was to smash mouth run that football, give their line some confidence, give Carson some confidence and some additional space, and that's what inevitably made the rest of that second half work. So, do you think the Phillies could take any lessons right now for how to respect the fans of Philadelphia?
Well, he certainly could, and Sean Rodriguez in particular definitely could. He could take a few lessons from Malcolm Jenkins over there, talking about the boos and how they expected it and how they know they deserved it. So, yeah, I think that the Phillies locker room, their clubhouse, could take a lesson from the Eagles as a whole in terms of, the maturity with which they handled it and how they responded to it. The Eagles went out there, they got booed in the first half, they came out, they scored, outscored them 32-10 after being down 17-0. Yeah, that's right. 32-10 after being down 17-0. They responded greatly to the boos. They came out and dominated the second half of football. And they did the right thing with it. They became motivated by the fans' anger as opposed to just, sitting back and whining about it like Sean Rodriguez did.
Yeah, and again, I said it on In Cap We Trust. I said it on a few other episodes. I feel as though what he was doing was certainly to protect Reese Hoskins and some other mainstays in that starting lineup over there. But again, used incorrect words. I also don't think he knows the definition of what certain words are, which is fine. But lessons to be learned for how to come out and to use whatever energy, because Philadelphia's a different market, man. Like, you get booed anywhere that you go if you don't play particularly well, but it's not like what it's like in Philadelphia. Like, there is a different energy here that makes, again, we wouldn't hit the national media still to this day for all the different things that 40, 50, 60 years ago our Philadelphian fan base did. It puts everything else in a greater perspective, but still, come here as an athlete, come here as a fan, you understand things are different. So let's go through like quarter by quarter real quick, just how you were personally feeling. So we'll talk specifically you right now. So first quarter happens. Things are not working well for the offense. Doug's play calling was not great. What's your thoughts at this point?
I wasn't too worried at that point because I knew that they had a whole half, or at that point, 3 quarters more left of football. I knew that the Eagles, with all the offensive firepower that they have, they're not going to be held down. They're not going to be held scoreless. They're going to break out at some point. So after the first quarter, yes, I was a little bit annoyed at how things were going. I wasn't encouraged by any means, but I also wasn't, hitting the alarm at that point.
Well, I would say that you were probably the only one. I was not calm. I was not rational. I'm sitting here trying to find... Unbelievable. I should probably come a little more prepared for these, but we didn't. I was going to find the exact score for the first quarter, half, third quarter, and fourth quarter, but I think at the time it was 10-0.
10-0 after one, yes.
That's what I thought.
I believe so.
So I think it was 10-0 at half and 17-0 there. So
20-7 at the half.
20-7 at the half?
Yes.
Okay. So I think we got shut out in the first half.
No, we had the first Deshaun
the first
touchdown.
Deep Deshaun touchdown. Yep. That's right. Regardless, things not great. But in the second quarter, then sure, we get the very first of 2 Deshaun bombs. How does that change your mood and perspective at this point, heading into half?
Oh, I'm hyped up. I'm hyped up.
That's all it took.
Yeah, that's all it took. That first bomb to Deshaun Jackson, a beautiful, perfect throw by Carson Wentz. 1 out of 2 that he made to him on the day, but that was probably one of the best throws I've seen Carson make in his career. He put it right over the shoulder, only in a place where only Deshaun could catch it. He was able to run into it, have enough space to get his feet down in the end zone. It was a perfect throw, perfect catch, and that's what they needed, because after that, the offense was unstoppable.
Yeah, they certainly seemed to be. And encouraging for me. We heard about the Deshaun, wow, voice cracking at 30 years old. We heard about the connection that Carson Wentz and Deshaun Jackson was having in camp, although anyone can look good in shorts. We heard about it in, with padded training camp. We heard about it at, again, all throughout the offseason. And we hadn't had the opportunity to see it. And we have never really had the opportunity to see Carson Wentz throw a consistent deep ball. It looks pretty good to me. That touch there, that feel there for the ball, 40, 50, 60 yards downfield right now is pretty good. And that's super encouraging because this is the first legitimate deep threat that he's had. Obviously he had Torrey Smith, but he was never truly a factor to catch the football. It was more so just to space out that field, to stretch things out for us. And other than that, we had Shelton Gibson was the other burner. Bryce Treggs was the other burner that we had.
Matt Collins
isn't a burner, but...
I think, that's what they tried to use him as.
It is what they try to use him as, but then he has lower body injuries, left, right side, doesn't really matter. The guy can't get on the field. So we'll skip the third quarter as a whole here, and we'll just go right to the end of the game. Were you at all left concerned by any aspect of the game, whether it be the players, whether it be health standpoint with Malik Jackson going down and what we now know is a season-ending injury for him, unfortunately? Was there any points of concern there for you, or you were just like, nope, this is the football team, we're good here?
Well, at that point, when we didn't know the extent of Malik Jackson's injury, the only concern that I had was a minor concern with the secondary because, quite frankly, they didn't play very well. And even when the defense tightened up in the second half, the secondary was still exposed on a few plays. So that's a minor concern. I think that they're going to tighten that up a little bit because they do have a talented secondary.
Yes.
So I think that's not going to continue to be an issue throughout the season. Now that we obviously know about the extent of Malik Jackson's injury, that's a concern.
Yes.
Because that's somebody you kind of went all in with him on the defensive line there alongside Fletcher Cox. That was going to be a huge piece right there. And now they're going to have to find a way to move on from that. And
well, they did sign someone from Miami, or make a trade for someone.
Yeah, well, basically, it seems like what they're going to do is they're going to plug guys in here and there, kind of rotate guys a little bit more, and see what the best fit is there. But missing Malik Jackson, that's going to be huge. I don't think it's a death blow to this team. I still think that they have plenty of talent to go out there and be, a top Super Bowl contender, but it hurts.
Yeah, it does, for sure. I will say, thank God that we got Timmy Jernigan back. Thank God that he agreed to come back and play for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, that's a huge thing now.
Because
definitely.
Look, he was an extremely integral piece to both of the last teams for the last year, obviously difficult year with the whole back injury, but still went on the field an integral piece. And he's someone who's familiar with Fletcher Cox and who Fletcher Cox is familiar with, so that's big. But let's check in before we get to our Lane Johnson's Groundhog Advice column. Let's check in on how our predictive stars from last week went. So we each went with Avonte Maddox, and I would probably go so far as to say that, we weren't overly impressed with anyone in the secondary for the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. I don't know if your thoughts are too much, or the other day. I don't know if your thoughts are too much different than mine.
He didn't have a great game. He was much better in many games last year than he was in the opening week. I'll just chalk it up to, being the opening week. A lot of guys are still rusty. A lot of guys come out flat and don't have their best game. So, yeah, he didn't play well, but I'm not overly concerned by it.
He came away with 4 tackles and a pass defense. Look, I would say of the secondary's problems, Avonte Maddox was probably, he and Malcolm are probably of the least concern, which is, in my opinion, I think to be expected. But nothing overly flashy there. For you, who was your offensive star again that you went with?
I think I went with Carson.
No, neither of us took a quarterback. I think you went Ertz or Deshaun. I just don't remember which.
I can't even remember right now.
Goddard,
yes.
You went with Goddard.
And he wasn't a huge factor. He had a few catches.
Yeah, he had 2 catches for 16 yards. It's as much as they are going to play that 12 personnel, they are going to have both of those tight ends out there. I do think that the way that the Redskins defense just kind of matched up, this was part of the game plan. I don't think that he was going to be a huge thing. I think opening at home, I think that Sean was 100% going to be the focal point of the offense in terms of a passing perspective. But I would say 2 and he looked fine. Made a nice catch there on the sidelines and got an extra couple yards, something that our superstar Zach Ertz cannot do. But not a terrible choice for you there.
It was more so a factor of Carson spread the ball around really well too.
He did, yeah, he really did. He completed passes to 8 different players. Again, 3 touchdowns, really 4. I hate that running call, or that it's a rushing touchdown. Stumbling on words here for Alshon there. But still, a great opening day for Carson. I went with Jordan Howard. I said that he was going to be a huge factor. He was not a huge factor, but when he was on the field, he was, in my opinion, exceptional. I feel like there were a lot of really poor decisions by Deuce Staley and Doug Peterson, how they used their running backs and what play calls they made for the running back personnel that was back there. But in 6 carries for Jordan Howard, he carried for 44 yards. That's an average of 7.3 yards per carry. And every time he was there, he moved the pile. So, I feel like he's going to be a more integral piece of the offense as things go. I feel like the Darren Sproles thing, again, another Philly hero here. People love Darren Sproles, and obviously Doug Peterson loves Darren Sproles, but it would not shock me if Darren Sproles is a lesser of a focal point in this offense going forward, and it is just the Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard show.
Yeah, I feel like you can kind of chalk that up to this game being like a last preseason game in that way as well. They didn't really have a great feel for their running backs because they didn't play them a whole lot in the preseason, so they were giving different guys different carries in different situations and kind of spreading the ball around there. So I think that's why you only saw Jordan Howard with 6 carries. I think now that he went out there and he showed what he can do, average 7 yards a carry, really tough to tackle, was breaking a lot of tackles, driving the pile, as you said. I think now that they've seen that from him, he's going to be relied on a lot more. It's kind of like 2 years ago when the first couple weeks they're hesitant to give LeGarrette Blount a lot of touches.
Sure.
And then he had that one big game, I think it was against San Diego. And then after that, he was getting his 15, 20 touches a game.
Yeah, I would say it's probably a good comparison, and I feel like if there's 30 rushing attempts a week, so there's 30 actual design running plays to a running back, I would say probably 12 to 14 maybe for Miles Sanders, and in that 10 to 12 for Jordan Howard, and then maybe Sproles and Clement get the rest there. For our first week in Standout Stars prediction, neither one of us went with the overly sexy route there, and neither one of us were overly rewarded there. But we're going to get into Lane Johnson's Groundhog advice column. So we are going to do things a little bit different. We've heard some of the reviews that we've gotten in. We have heard that you guys appreciate more the fact that we are vastly different from the Kelly Green Hour in terms of our personality and humor and our connectability with some of the fans and listeners. So this show is primarily going to be the Lane Johnson Groundhog advice column, as well as a review of our WhatsApp chat. So you guys can always message us through our WhatsApp. The link is on our website. It's www.alwaysnextyearpodcast.com. Go to the contact page, and then at the bottom there is a link for our WhatsApp number there. So you can go ahead, subscribe to the website. You should anyway. Or just visit the website and click it there. And then you guys can talk to us during Philadelphia Eagles football games. And the funniest chats that we get, the funniest messages that we get, or the most informative, we will discuss on the show. So we're going to roll right into Lane Johnson's Groundhog advice column.
It's my favorite part of the show.
It is the listener's favorite part of the show, or so far anyway. All right. So I'm going to attempt to read these, or at least this particular one, with the actual punctuation that is here. Yes! That's really how it reads. And then there's like a long space, so I'm just going to wait for the space to evaporate.
Oh, man.
Go away. Week 1 is in the books, and our Philadelphia Eagles are 1-0. And then there's another massive amount of space. This is the Lane Johnson Groundhog advice column, by the way. This is not yet even the text chain. Here's my advice question. How would you rank your top 3 new Eagle additions in terms of jerseys to buy? I make one jersey purchase a year, and this year I'm a little late to the party. Who would you go with?
Oh, man, that's a tough question.
So 3 new Eagles to buy. I would say, first and foremost, Miles Sanders should be on there because he is going to be the running back of the future here, and that's a safe bet.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I certainly would. Can you count Deshaun Jackson since he's a returning player and not a first-time Eagle? A lot of people still have their old Deshaun jerseys.
Yeah, I think a lot. See, Deshaun never chose to leave, so to me it's different, So
we'll leave Deshaun off there then.
Leave Deshaun off. So for me, Miles Sanders is a definite. I would recommend not buying a Jordan Howard jersey. He will not be here next year, as much as I love him.
I would still buy one.
You could buy one next year when it's like $12 in a clearance rack.
That's a fair point.
Let's see. Outside of Miles Sanders, I'm a big Dallas Goedert fan, and I do think for cap purposes, eventually he's going to be the guy, and Ertz is going to be a victim of cap. So, well, he's not technically a new Eagle. He's here last year too. So,
new Eagle. I'm going. You got to ball out. Get yourself a Josh McCown jersey.
Josh McCown jersey. Just get one that just says "greatest hair in football" on the nameplate.
Oh, man.
I like the Josh McCown jersey. If you buy an Eagles Josh McCown jersey, I hope to God that you do have the other 14 jerseys that he's worn in his NFL career, or however the hell many jerseys he's worn. Is it 12?
Something like that.
It's 12.
I think we need to get a group of people together and form. What is it, like the traveling Yoggers or something like that?
The traveling they all wear the hair.
The hair would be a great idea for McCown, but they had all the different jerseys that he wore throughout his career. So do that with Josh McCown. Somebody, if you have a little bit of free time, go ahead and start that up. Yeah,
I think that'd be highly entertaining. Let's see. I guess you can get Arcega-Whiteside. To me, we'll see. But Look, sorry we can't give you 3. We're going to go with Miles Sanders here, and then we will appease Rob, and we will go with the hair.
You know who my dad would get? Since he's a huge fan of offensive linemen, he would get a Dillard jersey.
I would respect that, actually. You know what? That's a good one. Because we see Jason Peters jerseys fucking everywhere in the city. So, the next bodyguard, let's give it to him.
Yeah,
Andre
seriously.
Dillard. That's a good poll. All right, so we got 3 names for you there. Decent enough question coming in. All right, second one. Hey, Rob and Shane, I love the show and decided to write in. I'm stuck in the 90s, which seems to be the last time that you could breathe without offending someone. I learned the term social justice warriors on another one of your segments, Who the Puck is Ryan Dingle? Apparently, it's been a bit since they've listened. It's called Disciples of Ed now, but thank you. Obviously, the Mike Scott thing has everyone going bonkers, and I feel the need to protect, and they feel the need to protect the party or parties that they feel most deserve it, and then relentlessly mock and or demean and attack the other parties. I want to rip everyone on Facebook, but I'm afraid that in this 2019 PC world that I will lose my job as an elementary school teacher if our superintendent were to see or hear my comments. What do you think is the best course of action aside from doing nothing? That is a very, very long question.
It is.
Just for an advice purpose here. I am the worst person to ask about being PC.
And if you're the worst, then I'm the second worst.
Yeah, I think you've asked the two people who are almost assuredly to get you fired as the superintendent. And obviously, we're huge here. Your superintendent obviously listens to this show. Which is, again, why we protect you and your anonymity. Yeah. Love that word, anonymity. It's just fun to say.
And by the way, if you're not a fan of political correctness, you shouldn't be a teacher. Because there's a lot of political correctness going around in that circle of work there.
That's true. I would suggest... See, it's hard. Because I genuinely have to just do nothing. Because if I do speak, I offend everyone. That's probably what you should do. Offend everyone. Rip all parties involved.
Stop giving a shit, you know?
Just rip all parties involved. Look, first of all, I don't give a damn that Mike Scott wore a Redskins jersey to Philadelphia. Maybe I'm in the minority there, but I genuinely don't care. If you yelled racial obscenities to him, I believe that is 100% the hall pass for Mike Scott to do whatever he wants to physically harm you. You just shouldn't do that shit. I don't really know what else there is in that came out of it, but for whatever reason, man, people get drunk and they do stupid shit. That's just what it is.
I'll tell you what, if you want to rip everybody and you want some extra protection, pull a Brian Colangelo, get a burner account on Twitter. Just, set up some stupid burner account with some stupid name and go on there and just, let it all out. Say exactly what you feel needs to be said, no holds barred. Just get that burner account and let it all rip.
There you go. So burner accounts, supporter of burner accounts here. That or email or DM AMYP_monkey, and he will say whatever it is that you want him to say on your behalf.
Yeah, we can do it anonymously.
Totally anonymously, because no one knows who the AMYP monkey is. All right. So let's see. Our third one. Shane, Rob. They literally have exclamations after each one of our names. It's bizarre. Need some advice here, pals. First of all, when I read this and I was called pals, I wanted to punch this human in the face. I am not okay with being called pal.
Just punch him through the computer.
I'm close. I'm in a golf tournament this Saturday with some buddies. Now he's calling them buddies. And we...
Let me guess, is this guy's name Chad?
It's
or Brad or something like that?
Chad is always a punchable name. Although that's not entirely true. I work with a kid named Chad, and he's one of the sweetest humans I've ever met, and he's brilliant.
Just very poorly named.
Yeah, it's a strange name. Anyway, he says, we like to keep things interesting. We're all passably decent for a bunch of non-golfers, but we obviously do have our moments of embarrassment. Like any good set of buddies should do, we harp on the embarrassment and make it as worse or as bad as possible. My question is, I am in charge of the punishments this week. What would you suggest the punishment for the following golf course mishaps should be? So, Rob, first of all, you're an avid golfer.
I have golfed before. I will golf occasionally, but not avid.
Okay.
And I kind of suck at it. And there's actually some pretty funny stories related to it.
All right. Well, another time we'll 100% get into them. All right. First off, what should the penalty be for failing to drive past the ladies' tees? Now, typically this is just you have to then find your ball and take your next shot with your pants around your ankles. That is the typical rule. Rob, we'll go to you. What would you like the punishment to be?
That's a good question. I don't know. Something like a naked lap around the golf course or something like that. not that the rest of your foursome or whatever would want to see that.
That's a long course. Like, no matter where you play, that's 8. Like,
okay, around the hole.
I think that's more respectable.
Yeah, around the hole.
Yeah. All right. So Rob's going full on naked lap around whatever current hole you are at. That's funny. I am going to say that you have to stay and wait for the next set of 4 or 2 or whomever is behind you that is willing to allow you to join theirs, and you just now have to play the remainder of your holes with a different foursome. 2, excessive. I did laugh at this because this happens a lot. So for the second one, excessive practice strokes that don't even result in a quality shot. So have you ever seen those people who set 1,000,000 times, take 14 practice shots in the sand or the rough or wherever they are, then they take their stroke and dog shit shot?
Yeah, I've seen plenty of those people.
All right, so it sounds like they want to keep things funny as opposed to just stroke penalties. So the way I typically play is I usually say, if you took 14 practice strokes, we're cutting the number in half. That was to take your one swing. That was worth 7 shots right there because we all had to wait so goddamn long. But since you want some creativity to it, I would say if they're going to do that, the next time that they're up and you know that this is a habit of theirs to take that many shots, slowly take their golf clubs out. Just start driving away and throwing them out the back of the truck so they have to go after the back of the golf cart. And so that they have to run after it, pick up a club every single time that one is thrown out. That would be what I would do.
That's one idea. That's a solid idea. Personally, I would just go up and kick their ball as they're doing their practice swing. You know, with us, golf course etiquette goes completely out the window. So we're not the serious. At least I'm not the serious golfer who takes the game super serious and just adheres to all that stupid etiquette crap that they have at golf courses. No, I'm going out there. I'm having fun, and if my buddies are pissing me off by doing stuff like that, well, I'm going to do stuff that pisses them off right back.
I would say that I think that is perfect. They have a couple other ones here, but we don't have enough time to go into all of them. But I would just say that you should write back in and let us know what you do decide on, and we will rate your punishments. We'll do it that way. All right, so fellas, I need your advice. I have a neighborhood buddy with whom I grew up and knew my entire life. I'm 44 now. He would be 46 this season. Sadly, he passed away this week. Our condolences. Sorry for your loss. The services are Sunday. We always joked that no matter what the event, no matter the set plans, Eagles football would forever be the exception, and you should receive a pass for skipping it. I'm torn. I should go to the funeral, but I feel like I almost said the name. I feel like my buddy would haunt me from his grave. What do you suggest that I do?
Well, first off, our condolences to you for the loss of your friend. Second off, who schedules a funeral for a Sunday?
First off, it's a Sunday night game this week, right?
It is, yes.
I feel like this guy doesn't know the schedule.
Yeah, that's a good point. But aren't funerals usually weekday mornings, afternoons?
I think it's all relative to when the person passes.
It might be.
But
I'm just saying I've never been to a funeral on a Sunday before. They normally, at least in the Catholic Church, they don't do it during the normal mass schedule, which is Friday nights and Saturday evenings.
Maybe it's a wake.
It might be. I don't know.
Who knows?
Either way, the Eagles are playing Sunday night, so you should not have to worry about it. But
I think you should honor your friend's request and your gentleman's agreement from 44 plus years of friendship.
Yeah.
And maybe don't go and Skype a video in or something. Because he will haunt you. I 100% agree. He will haunt you from the grave.
Yeah, his family's not going to notice. Let's be honest. Your agreement with your friend is more important than your relationship with your friend's family.
That's true also. All right, so our guy Reginald Green wrote in again this week. He said he was going to write in every week. So
Man of his word.
He is a man of his word. We don't know if this... Well, we can assume it's not his real name since he specifically said, use my name. Last week he said that anyway. So, gents, it is I, your humble Reginald Green. I come to you again for a bit of ale advice. My week, unlike last, was joyous. While it started out a fear to retreat back to my residence, my last week proved to be exuberant. Or my last half of the week proved to be exuberant. A celebratory ale, perhaps. What shall it be? I think you're talking... All right. I'm pretty sure he's just using the Eagles. I think that's your shtick here, man. I caught on 2 weeks in. It sounds as though it was the longest week ever for him getting into Eagles football last week, leading into the week. And this week, now he's telling us that his week started slow, but ended up joyous. So I
think he's trying to get his own version of Rate the Drink here.
Well, that's right, because this is 2 weeks in a row that he's asked for drink advice. That's correct. So a celebratory drink for you, go with a mead, just since it's my last name. Let's roll with that.
It reminds me of that Bud Light commercial.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, man, Reginald, if we caught on to your shtick already, I'm sorry. We may be dismissing your questions and your advice requests. So you're going to have to bring some creativity next week, sir, or ma'am, whatever you are. Final one for the Lane Johnson's Groundhog advice. We'll do this one pretty quick. Need a ruling here, hosting a card game Sunday afternoon to lead us into the Eagles game at night. Texas Hold'em, 7-card stud, Omaha high-low, 5-card draw, 2 tables of hearts, Boudagi. I don't even know what Boudoogie, Badoogie, whatever. Something I've never heard of. I say 2 tables of hearts, girls versus guys, play through the 1 p.m. games. Final Four, table up during the 4 p.m.s, and they did not like this. What would you guys suggest? And what it would be... Oh, that's actually pretty cool. What would be your piece of sports memorabilia that you guys have that you would put up as your bet token for the day? So first of all, let's just attack your bet portion of the day. I think it's awesome that you guys... I've heard of people doing this with like lottery tickets instead, but I would assume that all of you have a fairly extensive sports collectibles collection. So I think that's pretty cool. So Rob, what would be one thing that you would be willing to part with in a poker game?
The one thing that I would be willing to part with in a poker game, I've got it's actually a kid-sized Jim Thome jersey, but it's not signed by Thome, but it's signed by Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and the Philly Fanatic.
You'd be willing to part with that?
I would be confident enough in myself to put it up there and put it on the line.
All right. I respect that.
Of course, I wouldn't lose it because I would win.
All right. I think I would go with Brent, my signed Brent Selleck piece. I loved Brent, and I think I would just find it funny because it's literally addressed to Shane. So if I did happen to lose, no value to this. This is just a to Shane.
Unless you lose it to a person named Shane. That
would be ideal for that person. Then that would just be sentimental value to them as well, and they could lie to their friends and family and say that they met Brent Selleck and that I didn't. But all right, so then which poker game would you go with? First of all, I am a 100% dealer's choice guy. I love the creativity in betting, and I love that you can't get stuck into one pattern, and I know that everyone has their game and their choice. So if it were up to me and I was part of your card game, I would do a dealer's choice. You also 100% can't play hearts for 3 hours. It doesn't work. It's you play to the score and then you're done. Like, I don't understand where your thought is there. But sure, whatever. So I'm a dealer's choice guy. Rob, what would you select?
I'm a good plain old Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em for you?
That's my go-to right there.
Yeah, I think that's probably most house games is Hold'em. So when I used to host the house games, we used to do specifically Hold'em, and only one night a month we would do a 7-card tournament.
Yeah, either that or I would go 3-card sometimes.
Okay.
But Texas Hold'em's a go-to.
All right. So that was your Lane Johnson's Groundhog Advice column. Like I said, this week we took a little bit of a hit. So we started off incredibly entertaining throughout our Lane Johnson Groundhog Advice column. And it didn't rely on us to be the funny ones, which would help if you guys brought the humor. And then we just got to sit here and double up on some of that. But you guys have not done that, and you've asked for serious advice. So that's fine. But we will continue to sit. You know what the best way to make that segment better is?
Go to ask questions.
if more of you wrote in, so as much as we love the folks who have been consistently writing in so far, and we do love them, and Reginald Green, even though we caught on to your shtick, pal, we got it. We appreciate you. Write in, send us an email. It's amypodcastteam@gmail.com. You can find that on our websites, www.alwaysnextyearpodcast.com, or most of you follow us on Twitter as it is, so you can always DM us there as well. So the other thing that we're going to pretty much end our segments with here, we have a couple segments, like minor short segments right after this, but this is a review of the WhatsApp messages. So each week we open up our WhatsApp and we allow for our fans and followers to text us throughout our Eagle football watching and games. So these are, I've narrowed it down, so there were a ton this week, but I've narrowed it down to 10, and I have written when these texts came in, and I want to see how close Rob gets on some of them. So I'm going to read them to the best of my ability with the emotion that these texts came in, so this should be a nightmare.
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to this.
So, all right. I'm also, if you use, like, slang and things like that, like I'm using slang and, like, acronyms, like I'm not spelling or saying anything out. So, first one. WTF! I guess the preseason matters a hell of a lot more than Doug thinks. When was this said?
Probably the first quarter on Sunday.
First quarter?
Yes.
Well, in a broad perspective, you are correct, but this was after the very first Washington first down. This was the first. So, and if you think that's bad, I'd like to remind you 15 minutes ago when we were speaking about LJ 3 plays in, where he was already losing his mind, basically stating the season was over, and that it was going to be a long year. But after the first Washington first down, we got a WTF with a ton of exclamation points. Second one we got in. Well, these are in no particular whatever. The order's kind of there, but yeah, it's not necessarily the sec. Doesn't matter. All right. You're joking, right? What? Just 9 Eagles gonna let 55-year-old Vernon Davis hurdle his way to the end zone? What a damn joke. That was pathetic. Way to take the air out of this place on one dang drive. Well, I guess it's pretty easy to tell when this one came in. I'll be honest, it's hard to read some of these. So I translated them over into Word docs over and sent them in, and
seems like some of these you had to translate into English.
That one was, there's a handful on here where they're bad. Like, I'm about to sound incredibly Caucasian on a few of these. I'll be totally honest. So obviously this was after the Vernon Davis touchdown. What was your thoughts and reaction to that touchdown? We didn't talk about it.
Sendejo's just, first of all, he looked like he stumbled or something. He blew his coverage on Vernon Davis because he was supposed to be covering him. And then he got back in position to make a tackle, and he tried to shoulder tackle him, and he got bowled right over. Yep. And then I think they called him on Fox. They called him 137-year-old Vernon Davis. And he ran, 40-some-odd yards for a touchdown.
Yep. Good for Vernon, by the way. I'm glad the Washington Redskins lost, but I am glad that he got a touchdown on a day that was obviously very important to him with the passing of the father figure in their home. So Vernon Davis, who most definitely does not listen to our podcast, but if you ever stumble across it, that was a pretty special thing. So we're glad for you. Third one, 10-0. 10-0 against the freaking Washington Redskins on opening day at home. Doug never has his team prepared. We saw this all year last year, slow starts and having to play catch-up all game. I've seen enough. #fire Dougie P.
Good Lord, man. You really want to fire the coach that won us the Super Bowl? All right, so let me guess. Just a shot in the dark. He posted this, I don't know, after they kicked the field goal to make it 10-0?
I think so. I think that was correct. So I like the fact that there are random capitalized words here, and I feel like I'm like my own George Costanza right now. Like, had to. That's how it was said. If you guys don't watch Seinfeld, by the way, you're not going to understand half the references I use on every single one of our segments. So, watch the damn show. All right, LOL, 17-0 and getting booed out the damn link at half. I swear to God, if we have the Philadelphia Phillies situation here in Midnight Green, y'all gonna have to. They wrote have, like one half of something. Have to scrape the river because a whole dang mess of humans finna jump off the dang bridge by the end of the third quarter if shit don't change.
Oh, man.
I have to make you read these next week.
Oh, my God.
Jesus Christ. So obviously this was going into halftime. We kind of already touched on how we felt at half.
What was that? It was 17-0, right? So it was before halftime.
Before halftime,
because we scored a touchdown and they kicked the field goal.
Yeah. All right, so before halftime, 17-0 there.
We're getting all the Doomsday fans that are coming out here.
Early. Well, again, I'm reading these in like, while it's not every single one that we got in, these are like the best chronological through the game process here. All right, so
You sure that these aren't all just LJ, typing in, sending into WhatsApp under different names?
it may be, but that would require him to put effort into anything. So we love our Keller Green host. All right, fire everyone. Carson is not elite. Rasul Douglas is trash. Sidney Jones is trash. Fletcher Cox, who? That man's done nothing. I'm not sitting through 16 weeks of this. Doug can't call plays. He has to relinquish his own duties and give that to Deuce. Deuce would actually know how to manage the running backs, unlike Doug. Whatever. By the way, I haven't listened to this show yet, but if I do, I better hear my message on here. So you are going to hear your message. Before I let Rob have an opportunity to talk, I just want you to understand that Deuce Staley is the one who manages the running backs and who is on the field and when. Just for your own knowledge there, so I don't really know why you'd need to flip the play calling over. And he was bad for a lot of this game, Doug Peterson, but slow your roll there, my friend.
First of all, dude, relax, man. Relax. It's the first half of the first game of the season. Just, stop asking for everybody to be fired. Like I said before, Dougie P won us the Super Bowl. Carson's a great quarterback. Why are you slandering Fletcher Cox, man? Oh my God, that makes me want to punch a hole in this wall right here in the studio. You are an idiot. But I'm going to guess that was said. I'm going to say it was after the Redskins kicked that field goal to make it 20-7.
It was during halftime.
Okay, so it's fairly close.
So basically that.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. That's it. Run it down their throats. Keep giving Jordan Howard the football. That man carried the Bears on his back for 3 years, and Howard stole his ass for pennies. Use him. Eagles football, baby. We're back.
I love how people are just riding the wave.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
People are just, they're so down in the first half and then so up in the second half. I'm going to say that was after, the Alshon touchdown that made it 20-14.
It was actually during the first drive of that third quarter. So when that came in, that was, I think after, if I remember correctly, after Jordan Howard's second move the pile carry for 7 yards. But yeah, hilarious. I just like all the capitalizing and all the punctuation that comes into this. It's brilliant. All right. Do not let Jax get free. He also called him Jax, not D-Jax, which is hilarious to me. 30-something years old, and he still leave you like burnt toast. Or burnt like Shane's house. I actually know this person. So, man, burn. But that's a damn pretty deep ball.
Man, he's taking shots at you personally.
I did appreciate it. I laughed.
Well, it's fairly obvious. It was after the second touchdown.
After the second touchdown.
After the second Deshaun touchdown, that is.
Yes. So, thank you, by the way. This guy plays baseball with me. He messaged, and it was funny, I don't even have his cell phone number. And this guy messaged me on here, and he was just like, by the way, if you don't know who this is, this is. I was like, you are an ass. Or a guy I used to play baseball with, I should say. All right. Where all them Skins fans at now? Where they at? Lonely out there watching the birds backdoor cover your ass.
Man, I can guarantee you that person was not saying that in the first half. That person was probably one of the people who was, trashing the Eagle in every which way in the first half. But anyway, I'm going to say that was after the Alshon quote-unquote rushing touchdown.
Mm-hmm. This was entering the fourth quarter, which makes me laugh.
Okay, so it was before it then.
Yeah. It makes me laugh because, they said cover yo ass, and it just makes me laugh to even read shit like that.
Every time I hear something that's, read like that, I always think about that guy who took a video of himself after the NFC Championship game, and he was talking about coming after Tom Brady's wife.
I don't think I've ever seen that, but that's brilliant.
You've got to watch it. It was pretty funny.
All right, so I'm going to watch that directly after this. All right, so I won't lie. This was said by the same person who said the previous one. This was just a little bit later. Yo, Jim Shorts is an ass. He said Jim Shorts, by the way.
Jim Shorts?
He said Jim Shorts.
Gym shorts. You know, like what you wear to gym class.
Pretty much. So this man is so content to play sticks in prevent. Like, damn, homie, I got 100 on this. I'm not trying to... I'm not trying to let you burn my spread. Gee. Shit.
See, it's time
I kept thinking it was over. Wasn't over.
It's hard to put a timestamp on that, but you know what? I want to say it was towards the end of the game when the Eagles had I think they had a 12-point. I think it was 32-20 at that point.
Yep.
And the Redskins got a meaningless touchdown with like 5 seconds left.
Yeah, so it was the touchdown that they had got. It was like 3 or 4 plays right before it. It was as they were driving.
Yeah, I was going to say it was during that drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Want to know, baby?
Well, clearly after the game.
Celebratory sex, let's get wild. Parking lot riding, backdoor spread, and shenanigans, baby. Super Bowl.
I hope he really pulled through on that. I'm rooting for him there.
Oh my god.
I hope he really came through on that.
It came in post game, and I just said, assuming this guy is drunk, but like incredibly drunk. But that has been the what are we doing here? Jesus Christ, what are we calling this like little bit here? Just the WhatsApp segment? Like,
yeah, it's we'll come up with a better name for it once we have time to focus on that.
Yeah, I guess we'll figure it out. We'll also figure out the timing of things. We're gonna like as you continue to listen to this bit or this show, like it's gonna sound different every week because we have no idea what exactly we want it to sound like yet. But yeah, review of the WhatsApp. So thank you guys for messaging us in again, and you can always do that on our website. You can find us at www.alwaysnextyearpodcast.com. Go to the contact tab, scroll to the bottom, and that is where you will find the information for our WhatsApp. And again, you can send that to us anytime. It doesn't even have to be during the games. You can send us stuff throughout the week, but ordinarily we will only respond during the game. All right, so that brings us to another little bit here. So we have 2. We have the Ricky Waters for Who for What award of the week. So if you guys remember Ricky Waters, I think it was actually his first game as an Eagle. He alligator armed a pass over the middle and basically stated that, you know, for who, for what. And that's pretty much what he's been known here as in Philadelphia ever since. So this is where we go throughout the NFL and we choose a player or players or team or organization or something that basically has that same I just don't care attitude. So Rob and I talked a little bit before this segment, and we actually both had the same. So, Rob, I will let you take this one away. Who did we select and why?
Well, I don't think you could go anywhere else after week 1. You got to go with those stinking Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. You know, they might be the exact opposite of that 1972 team. This team might not win a game this year. You've got a group of guys who went out and on their home field, no less, and lost 59-10 to Baltimore.
To Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. If they lose 59-10 to Baltimore, just imagine how bad they're going to lose against the Patriots. Just imagine how bad, or you can salivate at this thought, how bad the Eagles should beat them later this season.
Should, but it's Philadelphia. We struggle with shit like that.
Yeah, but and then you have players after the game going out and saying that they want to be released, you know, void their contracts, and just they're instead of being part of somewhat of a solution there, they're just becoming more a part of the problem.
Yeah, agreed. I know I got a lot of shit when I was talking to some of my friends about it, you know, and saying, well, damn, I wouldn't want to play for Miami either. You know, they shipped out Ajayi 2 years ago. They shipped out Laramie Tunzel and Kenny Stills this year.
Tannehill.
Shipped out Tannehill. You know, they got Josh Rosen and aren't playing him. You know, so it's, to me, I would find it hard to get up and put on a Miami Dolphins uniform every day, too. It's a mirror, or it's no wonder why Jadeveon Clowney was like, I will not go to Miami and play. Thank you.
Yeah, because if you're lucky, you'll win one game there.
Yeah, so. But yeah, that was for my Ricky Waters Award of the Week as well. We do have different ones for the second one. This is called the Bodyguard Protection Service. This is obviously something in relation to Jason Peters. So this is where we are going to select an Eagle who maybe had a less than stellar football game or who made a boneheaded play or reaction to something and would be requiring the services of one Jason Peters from the Philadelphia fan base and maybe even his own locker room. So, Rob, who did you go with this week?
Sendejo. After that opening drive, that play, blowing his coverage on Vernon Davis, then getting trucked over after that, and allowing Vernon Davis, 137 years old, to run down the sideline for a touchdown. It's got to be Sendejo.
So I did not go with him because the rest of the night he was relatively kind of quiet, or rest of the day, I should say. It was a very bad play, and that is what it is. For me, I went with Derek Barnett. So I went with him because I don't think that he's ever seen a football snapped in his life. He jumped off sides 48 times. That's not an exaggeration, 48 times. I don't even know how that's possible. Your head is literally down, tilted, and looking at the football for a snap read. I don't get it. But to jump across when he did, the few times that it happened, not inspiring football from you, my friend. And you need a big year from this guy. So hopefully he got some of the rust off and some of those mistakes out of his system. But I think for the week, he is one that could benefit from the protection services of JP. All right, that's going to swing over to this is Rob's bit here, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So we were talking about different kind of bits that we can have, and we wanted to make sure that we talked a little bit about the incoming opponent for the coming week, and that is the Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to make fun of a Falcon here, just for a little bit. We're going to make fun of an Atlanta Falcon. So Rob, who do you got for us today?
I'm going to make fun of Matt Ryan, and I was looking it up, and I was actually surprised that his career record against the Eagles is 3-4. I thought it was a lot worse than that. But the thing is, the 3 times that he's beaten the Eagles have been in down years for the Eagles. So he's never beaten a good Eagles team in his life. And this is probably, arguably, the best Eagles team that he's seen. You know, obviously you can make an argument for the 2017 team when he lost to him in the playoffs that year. But this team's just as good, if not better, than that team. And Matt Ryan, whenever the Eagles are good, he has no answer for him. So Matt Ryan is the Falcon that I'm going to make fun of this week. Also, he has less playoff wins than, who was it we were talking about?
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's absurd. All right, so...
Also, he is a part of blowing a 28-3 lead.
Yes, and which is where I'm going to take mine. So I'm not picking just any one Falcon this week. I am picking the Falcons organization as a whole, and I'm picking one specifically because they are part of one of the greatest memes in the history of memes. It is Matt Ryan, or any Falcon, doesn't really matter who, or their owner, whom I'm forgetting his name right now, but he's the guy who's always on the field way too early. Yeah. And it is them with Hillary Clinton's face on them, saying the two are exactly the same. The actual meme reads this. Let me bring it up for you. And I'll show it to Rob on studio here while we're doing it. So, when you think you're going to win and you don't.
That's good.
And it is just Hillary Clinton's smug face there. Obviously thinking that she was going to beat the Don, which is hilarious. It's hilarious that those were the two names that were in that race to begin with. But you as an organization have not yet recovered from that, and I don't think that you ever will. I think that once you're compared to Hillary Clinton and the collapse that was that, and losing out to the Don in a presidential race, and this is now a meme that will live on forever. At least it'll live on forever in my phone. Sorry, you don't get to win. You don't get to win football games. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm just going to take one more jab at the Falcons here. When the Eagles played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, we held on. We won that shit.
That's correct.
And we never had a 25-point lead at any point, but we ended up on the winning end when it mattered.
Damn right.
So, we beat them. You didn't. Haha. We're better than you.
All right, we're going to wrap this one up here. We've definitely went on this one a little bit longer than we intended to. I think we talked a bit much about the previous week in the beginning there, but we're going to go with another fan favorite here, and that is the Rate the Drink bit. So, Rob, or for all of our new listeners, since we do realize that there are going to be a few now that we have the WhatsApp thing, a few of you guys, by the way, thank you very much, have said that you intend to begin to listen to the show. We hope that we do not disappoint. But for you guys, the Rate the Drink segment is a little bit of a therapy minute, so Rob tells us about his week and what warrants the drink selection that he ends up making, and then I, the non-alcoholic Shane, rate this drink. So, Rob, what do we got this week?
So I'm not going to tell you about the whole week. I'm just going to tell you about Saturday, right?
All right.
Okay, so I woke up with a pretty bad hangover on Saturday morning because I was out drinking a little bit the night before. And Saturday is a great day. I'm an Uber driver. It's a great day to pick up fares. Saturday is a very busy day, make a lot of money. So I decided I'm going to go out. I'm going to pick up some fares on Saturday night. My headlight goes out. The passenger side headlight. I get pulled over. Okay, I get pulled over the first time for it in Newtown. The officer gives me a verbal warning, which actually turned out to be really good timing because I had a passenger who was absolutely hammered in my car. And she actually, when I got pulled over, she had to step out and she had to puke. Jesus. So at least she was able to get out of the car and do it, on the sidewalk. But after that, a few passengers later, I get pulled over again by the Doylestown police. And this one takes a long time because they actually decided to give me a written warning, which obviously they're justified in doing. I deserved it. But it takes about probably a half hour, or maybe not that, maybe like 20 minutes for this whole thing to process. Passengers are getting all pissed off. They want a refund, which I give to them. So after that's all taken care of, I get them to their destination. I decide it's time to sign off for the night because it's been a long day. And when I do that, I find out that last passenger actually reported me to Uber for it. So my car got deactivated. I had to prove to them, I had to fix my headlight and then prove to them that the headlight was working again before they reactivated my car. So, pretty long Saturday. And to me, that called for a bottle of Jack. A straight up whole bottle of Jack.
Jesus.
Yep.
All right. Well, don't be an Uber driver, kids. That sounds stressful as hell. First of all, if someone throws up in my car, I too would throw up and then I'd slap them. If they throw it up outside of my car, I would also throw up and I would still slap them. I am not okay with that. You need to learn how to handle your liquor. It's ridiculous. Man, and then, first of all, I did not think that you could, I thought it was documented. I thought that when the Doylestown cop would pick you up or would stop you, and you could be like, listen, I was just stopped for it.
I actually told him that. I told him, well, first off, he asked if I had been stopped earlier in the day. And I told him, yeah, the Newtown police got me but it was probably an hour before that.
Yeah. So, theoretically, you were given the warning, okay, it's not like you're not going to go get that fixed. Why take the time to sit there and do that?
Honestly, I think they just wanted it documented. Because the first time was a verbal warning. It wasn't documented.
Still stupid as hell.
I don't know. He was just doing his job.
I get that he was doing his job.
About that.
Still stupid as hell. It's just the headlight. And then to your Uber fare. My God. How old was this person?
I'd say right around our age, honestly. So late 20s, early 30s.
Entitled millennials.
Yeah.
Sitting out here. Oh, my God. I hate these humans. All right, man. So that's a justifiable drink over there for you. And the entire bottle's worth. Also, did we meet Saturday morning or did we meet Sunday morning?
Saturday morning, yes.
So we met. Never mind. So that was how your day started. All right.
Yeah, so I was
about to.
I had just overcome my hangover by the time that we met up at the diner there.
Yeesh. All right, man. Well, good work by you. And you were good on Disciples of Ed too. Maybe you're like Steve. You need to be a functional alcoholic. But entire bottle of Jack. I think this has to be the highest rated one that we've had on the show thus far. I think I'm going to go with a 9.3. I think given the circumstances, and there's nothing sexy about the drink, but the circumstances along with the drink and the amount of liquor consumed, it's a 9.3 for me. That's really quality week right there by you, and it's a very quality life decision.
Quality week. Yeah,
I would recommend quality for the show purposes. I would not recommend anyone drink a bottle of Jack, by the way. Just as the same as I would not recommend anyone be an Uber driver to drunk 20-year-old women who don't know how to hold their liquor. It's insane. That being said, more power to you and your wallet, and we're glad to hear that no one vomited in your vehicle. And did you get the headlight fixed?
I did.
All right.
All I needed was good auto parts, whatever, and buy a new headlight. I installed it myself in like 2 seconds.
There you go. All right. That's going to be it for Backyard Beers and Football. I'm your host, co-host, Coast Shane. He's your host, co-host, Coast Rob. Rob, where can we get you on Twitter?
At radio_Rob.
You can get me on Twitter at Shane_Mead. And you can always get the podcast on Twitter at ANY Podcast. Again, I've mentioned it several times so far, but it is www.alwaysnextyearpodcast.com. We have several written articles that come out every single week. We have about 6 to 8 podcasts that come out every single week as well. Something for all 4 sports. We have a little bit of a whiskey ramble hour where we sit here and drink and talk about life. We have a wrestling podcast that has been MIA for a little bit now. I don't know that there's been a main wrestling event. I don't really follow wrestling, but they do a nice job with it, and they have a nice following over there. But yeah, so we have a little bit of something for everyone here at AMYP. Be sure to rate and review us, and while you are rating and review us, you should also simultaneously be ordering food from Just Food. That's 215-794-FOOD, 215-794-3663. Treat yourself, take it home, visit our guy over there, Asian Rob. Have him make you a hangover breakfast special. That's what Rob did the morning after when we met him.
Yeah,
that's where we met.
Much needed.
And it cured it?
It did. It
cured
absolutely did. It made me fully functional to host the DOE and then do my Uber driving for the rest of the day.
And the only one that could have made that possible was Asian Rob over at Just Food. So again, that's Just Food, 215-794-FOOD, 215-794-3663. Treat yourself. Take it home, Rob. We'll see you on the other side where we talk a little bit of Philadelphia Phillies baseball.
A fighting man I used to be, revered and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back, hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and such jiggle over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son still had me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.